What if the strongest argument against God's existence actually proves he's real? What if atheists have been accidentally making the case for God this entire time without realizing it? Today, we're diving into one of the most mind-bending philosophical paradoxes ever discovered by Peter Kreeft, a Harvard professor who shocked the academic world with his brilliant logic. And I guarantee, this will flip everything you thought you knew about the God debate upside down. Asterisk, picture this. You're in a debate with the most brilliant atheist philosopher you can imagine. They present what seems like an ironclad argument against God's existence. It's logical, it's compelling, it makes perfect sense. You're almost convinced. But then Peter Kreeft, this Catholic philosopher from Harvard, does something extraordinary. He doesn't fight the argument. He doesn't try to tear it down. Instead, he says the most shocking thing imaginable. You're absolutely right. And that's exactly why God exists. How is this possible? How can an argument against God actually prove God exists? The answer is going to blow your mind. But first, we need to understand the atheist argument that started it all. The argument we're talking about is called the problem of evil, and it's considered by many to be the strongest case against God's existence ever made. Here's how it works, and it's devastatingly simple. If God exists, he must be all-powerful, all-knowing, and all-good, right? That's what every major religion claims. But look around the world. We see innocent children suffering from cancer. We see natural disasters destroying entire communities. We see genocides, murders, unspeakable acts of cruelty. The atheist says, if God is all-powerful, he could stop this suffering. If he's all-knowing, he knows it's happening. If he's all-good, he would want to stop it. Since the suffering continues, God cannot be all three things. Therefore, this kind of God doesn't exist. It's logically airtight. It's emotionally powerful. For centuries, this argument has stumped theologians and converted believers to atheism. But Peter Kreeft looked at this argument and saw something that everyone else missed, something that changes everything. Here's where Kreeft's genius shines. He says, the atheist is absolutely correct about evil being a problem, but they've accidentally proven that God exists in the process. Wait, what? How does that work? Think about it carefully. When an atheist points to suffering and says, this is evil, this is wrong, what are they actually doing? They're making a moral judgment. They're saying some things are objectively good and other things are objectively evil. But here's the killer question Kreeft poses. Where do objective moral standards come from? If we're just evolved animals in a meaningless universe, why should we care about suffering? Why is the death of a child any different from the death of an ant? In a purely materialistic worldview, these are just chemical reactions in biological machines. The atheist who argues against God because of evil is standing on moral ground. That can only exist if God is real. They're borrowing from a Christian worldview to argue against Christianity. It's like using someone's ladder to climb up and tear down their house, but without the ladder, you can't get up there in the first place. But Kreeft goes even deeper. He points out something that will make your head spin. The very fact that we can recognize evil as evil proves we have some standard of perfect good to compare it to. You can't know something is crooked unless you have an idea of what straight looks like. When we look at suffering and say, this shouldn't be, we're appealing to how things should be. But in a godless universe, there is no should be. There's only what is. Here's where it gets really wild. Kreeft argues that our ability to be outraged by evil is actually a sign that we're made in the image of a perfectly good God. We recognize evil because we have a divine spark within us that knows what perfect goodness looks like. Think about this. Have you ever met an atheist who wasn't passionate about justice? Who didn't care about reducing suffering? who wasn't outraged by cruelty and oppression. Of course not. The very passion that drives them to reject God is actually evidence of God's existence. Their moral outrage is a God-given capacity that points back to its divine source. It's like they're saying, I reject the light because of all this darkness. But you can only see darkness if there's light to reveal it. Now, Kreeft doesn't stop at the philosophical level. He makes this deeply personal. He points out that when we really suffer, we don't just experience pain. We experience injustice. We feel that something is fundamentally wrong with the world. We cry out, this isn't how things should be. But think about what that cry means. We're not just reporting facts about brain chemistry. We're making an appeal to ultimate reality. We're saying that the universe itself should care about our pain. In a godless universe, who are we appealing to? The indifferent cosmos? Random chance? Natural selection? None of these things care about justice or meaning or love. But when we cry out in suffering, we're instinctively appealing to someone who does care. Someone who can hear. Someone who can respond. We're appealing to God even when we don't believe in Him. Kreeft says this is why even atheists pray in foxholes. In moments of ultimate crisis, our deepest instincts reveal what we really believe about reality. But here's the ultimate twist in Kreeft's argument, and this is where it gets really beautiful. He points out that Christianity is the only worldview that actually takes the problem of evil seriously. Other religions either deny that evil is real, or they say it's an illusion, or they blame it on ignorance. But Christianity says, evil is absolutely real, absolutely terrible, and absolutely unacceptable. So unacceptable that God Himself entered the world to suffer with us, and ultimately defeated. Voice becomes more passionate. The atheist says, if God existed, He would do something about suffering. Christianity says, He did. He became human, experienced the worst suffering imaginable, and conquered death itself. The atheist says, a good God wouldn't allow innocent suffering. Christianity says, you're right. That's why the most innocent person who ever lived suffered the most, to end suffering forever. So the atheist argument doesn't disprove God. It actually leads us straight to the cross. The very thing that seems to argue against God's existence becomes the proof of His love. It's the most beautiful philosophical reversal in human history. So where does this leave us? Peter Kreeft has shown us that the atheist argument from evil doesn't destroy faith. It purifies it. It strips away shallow, comfortable ideas about God and points us toward the real God, who suffers with us. The atheist who rails against injustice is actually bearing witness to God's existence. Their moral passion is a prayer they don't realize they're praying. Their cry for justice is an echo of the divine nature within them. Voice becomes more personal and direct. And here's what's really incredible. Once you see this, you can never unsee it. Every time someone argues against God because of evil, you'll recognize it as an unconscious argument for God's existence. You'll see that their very ability to recognize evil proves there's an ultimate standard of good. Their outrage at suffering proves they believe the universe should care about justice. Their passion for making things better proves they believe things can and should be better. In other words, you'll see God's fingerprints all over their atheism. If this completely changed how you think about the God debate, smash that like button and subscribe for more mind-bending philosophy that will transform how you see reality. And let me know in the comments, what's your reaction to this argument? Does it change how you view the relationship between evil and God's existence? Remember, the very fact that you can ask these questions might be the most powerful proof of all that there's someone listening for the answers. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.